What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the stream. We're here again watching some sick games of 40k. This time, another semifinals game from T5S2 Pod 3. We actually have a returning player 2 games in a row back onto the stream. We're watching Tomb King 20, who we just saw in the final game from Pod 2. And he's back at it again. Kicking butt and taking names over here. Oops. In the semifinals of Pod 3. The players are just going through their pre-games now, so I'm going to take a moment to go over their list. But up here in the red, we have Wolfvonmibu. With a very cool chaos list, some of which it looks like the textures have not entirely loaded in. Or he's given them a sheen. It looks like kind of a cool look, actually. I don't know about these obliterators are a little shiny, but these Slaanesh guys over here are pretty sick. I did talk about this list a little bit in my Pod 3 list breakdown. And it's a very interesting mixed chaos Astartes or Heretic Astartes list. It's kind of like a Heretic Astartes good stuff almost. It's just a bunch of good Chaos Space Marine includes. Looks like some custom models in here too. This almost looks like a Bellicor, which is pretty sweet. Basically bringing in a bunch of different modules from different Heretic Astartes sub-factions that work not necessarily well together, but they're independently very strong and have a couple overlapping combos that they're going to be able to use to really pump out a ton of damage. We also have these sick Rubric Marine models too. Ooh. I like that we're bringing in some custom models from Wolfvonmibu in this game. But going over Wolfvonmibu's list quickly, it has a grand total of 80 cultists, so a pretty solid block of just standard troops that he can use to totally dominate the center of the table, grab a ton of primary objectives, and fill out this enormous triple battalion that he's running. So we're coming in with a full 18 command points, and just swarming the table with a whole bunch of dudes. The similar, yeah. I do apologize. I don't even. It's some notes I don't even know if I'm going to use, but there you go. You can real quickly take a look at that. Yeah, Glargify, thanks to the comment to the CP counter. Yeah, it's just moving the counters around so that they're going to be a little bit easier to tell. I'd like to have a dice roller in the bottom corner here. That's the next sort of advancement that we'd like to do, but it's going to be a little tough because TTS only has support for a single overlay like this. Hopefully we'll be able to figure that out in the near future. But going over Wolfvonmibu's list, he has some really cool, units being supported by these 80 cultists. Like I said, it's a triple battalion, and he's bringing an Iron Warriors detachment, so standard Chaos Space Marines, with a Daemon Prince and a Sorcerer. So that's like, I think he's colored these guys. The Iron Warriors guys look like iron, which makes a ton of sense. He also has some Emperor's Children, which are going to be purple, and he has 1,000 Suns, which are going to be blue. So he's very intelligently colored out his army here. I do like that. But he has a Daemon Prince of Tzeentch as well as a Sorcerer in his Iron Warriors detachment, 30 Cultists, obviously, as well as, interestingly, 20 Rubric Marines. So that's to combo with both the Infernal Fusillade, which allows them to shoot their bolters twice if they stand still stratagem, and the Risen Rubric stratagem, which allows them to effectively concealed position deploy like scouts. So especially if you're going first in a list like this, these guys can deploy 9 inches off your opponent's deployment zone. They can stand still turn 1 and then just double shoot their bolters immediately. Those are Infernal Boltguns, so they're all AP2. It's a bunch of damage. And you get that Aspiring Sorcerer in there as well to get some smites off from a longer range. We also have a unit of Obliterators with Mark of Slaanesh, so that you're going to be able to use Endless Cacophony to double shoot those guys. Plus, you have the access to the Iron Warrior stratagem that lets them reroll the results for their Flesh Metal Guns stat rolls. Makes these guys very consistent, and it just puts out an enormous amount of damage. Plus, you can also deep strike them, so not only do you have these concealed positions, Rubric Marines, you can also deep strike these guys to get some forward position as well. Like I mentioned before, we have an Emperor's Children detachment, and this has another 20 cultists, but the last but not least is bringing in... yeah. Looks like the players need some help here. Oh, that's weird. It looks like I might actually have to be the game master in this game, so unfortunately the players will be able to see my cursor. I'm going to try to mitigate that as much as possible, but that's weird. I guess as soon as I go into spectator mode, it unpromotes the players. That's an interesting thing that I just learned. What the heck? Very strange. I wonder if I can pop out and then promote. Let's try that. Okay, it broke the promotion when I changed. That's why. All right, well, learning some new things about tabletop simulators, promotion ability. That's very strange. So this Emperor's Children detachment, bringing up the 2nd Battalion in Wolfvonmibu's list, it has... Again, 20 more cultists to fill out those troops, as well as a unit of 20 Noise Marines. I'm sorry, 18 Noise Marines, I believe. The Noise Marines are pretty strong, obviously. They're a high rate of fire gun. They fire with their gun when they die, so they actually you can pick up some kills in your opponent's turn if they overcommit on those guys, and they need to get within that 24-inch range to kill them. But that's they're only a strength 4 gun. However, Emperor's Children get access to the new stratagem from Faith and Fury that gives them +1 strength and +1 damage when they're shooting that gun. Plus, obviously, all of this stuff can be affected by Veterans of the Long War, so that it's all gonna be able to get +1 to wound. And then, because we have a Mark of Slaanesh on the Obliterators and also the Noise Marines, you're going to be able to use the Endless Cacophony stratagem to double shoot those guys in the shooting phase. In addition, you also have the Infernal Fusillade, like we talked about earlier, to double shoot the bolters on these guys. So you have a lot of opportunities to double fire your weapons, and every time you can be affected by Veterans of the Long War. And that's why we're bringing 18 CP in here to just fuel that combo as much as you possibly can. We also see second. Also see a second sorcerer in here. Or excuse me, a dark apostle, not a sorcerer. But he's giving +1 to hit, so we have several methods to get +1 to hit between Prescience and his litany there. And then we have Lucius the Eternal as the other HQ choice in this battalion. An interesting pick, not one we see very often, but he's effectively going to be in here to give reroll 1s to hit to the Noise Marines, and he's only a couple points more than a standard Chaos Lord. And for that, you do get some cool special rules. He is much better in melee. He has some pretty good short-range weaponry. And it's I think it's just a pretty good upgrade if you have that. It's only 7 or 8 points, I think, to upgrade him to a standard Lord to Lucius the Eternal. So it's probably worth it if you're just looking for the reroll 1s to hit aura. Last but not least, we have a Thousand Suns detachment that's bringing in 30 more cultists. This is all Cult of Magic, so we have access to the Warlord trait for +1 damage on your smites or on any of your mortal wounding psychic powers. And we have Ahriman and a Sorcerer in Terminator armor. An interesting note here is that we do have Rubric Marines in the Iron Hands detachment, or the Iron Warriors detachment, but we don't have them in the Thousand Suns detachment themselves, despite the fact that they are a Thousand Suns troop choice. So you can bring them in other Heretic Astartes armies as an elite's choice. They don't actually become Thousand Sons. They actually retain the Legion keyword of the original Legion, but because we're bringing them in as Iron Warriors, we're able to benefit from the reroll ones to hit aura from the Daemon Prince here. And in addition, because you have this Thousand Sons detachment, that unlocks your access to the Thousand Sons stratagems. Not all of them can require them to be used on Thousand Sons models. Some of them only require that they target friendly Rubric Marines, for example, and so that allows you to target the Rubric Marines here with those. So Risen Rubric and Inferno Fusillade both work like that. So it is a little interesting. They do lose their OBSEC roll that they would normally get from being in the Thousand Sons detachment, but you do get that reroll to hits, which I think you're a little bit more worried about. You have a ton of cultists to run onto objectives, and getting just the consistency out of these guys is a pretty big deal. Overall, I super duper love this army. It has a lot of powerful characters, especially this Daemon Prince, as well as just these basically 3 huge Death Star units that are, going to get stratagems dumped into it. They're going to shoot twice. They're going to fire a million shots at pretty strong strength, and it's just going to mow you down. With these with those guns, those 3 big gun units. We also have the backup smiting from the Ahriman, the Terminator Sorcerer, and then the other Sorcerer over here. We have a bunch of Psychers. It's a pretty heavy Psyker detachment, but I think the focus is definitely going to be on these Obliterators and these Noise Marines for sure. We also have the Iron Warrior's ability to let Obliterators shrug wounds to Cultists, and so that we might also see that in play to keep those guys alive, because once they do drop down, they are a little fragile. And the players are rolling to go first here. We do have, again, Tomb King 20 over on the other side. Coming in with his Chaos Knights list. It is a mixed Chaos list that has a super heavy detachment of Chaos Knights as well as a battalion detachment of Red Corsairs, Heretic Astartes. We did talk about this list earlier, and we have streamed it a couple times, so you probably have seen it on the stream before, but it has 2 sort of standard Chaos Knight loadouts, a double rapid-fire battle cannon, as well as a double Avenger Gatling Cannon Knight, despoilers, and then we have a Knight Rampager with just the 2 big melee weapons. Bringing up the rear in the super heavy detachment is a War Dog Moirax with 2 Graviton Pulsars. Not going to be that useful in this game. Typically, that guy's going to be in there to kill super heavy infantry, so things like Aggressors and Centurions, because his gun becomes damage 4 when he hits something with a 3+ or better save, because it does have that grav mechanic. But in this matchup, he has a bunch of little cultists to shoot at, but he's probably going to be hitting these Chaos Space Marine units, and it's going to be nice to have him around, but I don't think he's going to make a big impact in this game. I think he might just get knocked out. We also have in this another Heretic Astartes detachment, Red Corsairs, like I mentioned before. That because it has 3 units of Chaos Space Marines, that unlocks the additional 3 CP for Tomb King 20, so he starts at, I believe, 16, and has spent a couple pre-game. Looks like he spent 1 on this +1 here. Is +1 strength on his stubbers. He has the special Demon Bolt Iron Hail stubber stratagem, so that all of his stubbers are going to be a little bit stronger and to knock out those Chaos Space Marines. And then we're also bringing in Lord Discordant as well as a Sorcerer for Warp Time and potentially Death Hex. No, we're looking at Delightful Agonies, in fact. So it's a pretty straightforward Chaos Knights list with the 2 big heavy gun knights as well as the 1 Rampager, just mostly to soak shooting. We have seen Tomb King 20 use Pact with the Dark Gods to bring that guy back to life when he dies, so he gets 1 more swing in melee before he goes down finally. And, I mean, knights, as we've seen for years and years, basically kill everything that they touch in melee. So it's not going to be that... It's going to deal a ton of damage as it's going in. You have to deal with it. You have to kill it, and the longer it stays alive, the longer it pulls fire from these 2 despoilers that are just going to be pounding people for all game. We did pick pre-games with these players, and it looks like we have spent a couple CP. I'm going to go through the pre-games real quick. Looks like Tomb King did note them on his models here. He has a Bound Viridian Psychogeist, which sounds very cool. And that's going to give him the an additional +1 on wound rolls of 6 for this guy. We have seen that go off in the past. He has the Quicksilver Throne on this guy. That's for fight first, always fight first in melee, and you get +1 to advance in charges. You can also then spend the CP for full tilt and advance and charge afterwards, so you're +1 to advance on your advance roll, and then additionally +1 on your charge, so you're going to be throwing an additional 2 inches of threat off that guy, and then always fight first. Even if they charge you, you get to swing. And then the Blasphemous Engine on this guy, which is going to double its wounds for the purposes of bracketing. I think that's a pretty strong play. It is unlikely that any one of these units comes in and blasts a knight down to full to dead, and you want that knight to hit back as hard as possible, so bringing that in to keep you at top profile is certainly worth the CP. Let me see if Wolfvonmibu has noted he's noted his psychic powers. Perfect. On these guys, he's taking the High Magister trait. I'm going to look through the rules for those real quick, so I'm not giving you guys misinformation. So High Magister is +1 to psychic tests. That's a very solid one. He has, so he's taking the, everybody calls it the vinyl disc of Slaanesh. Reroll wound rolls as a 6-inch aura once per game on the Dark Apostle, and it looks like both I and Wolfvonmibu have forgotten the name of that Emperor's Children ability. Which is going to give a big burst of damage output to these guys. You can give them the +1 damage with the stratagem, and then also you get to come in with the reroll wounds so that you can force those through. Interesting. It's not. All right. And then he's Weaver of Fate on his Tzeentch Daemon Prince. And Delightful Agonies, Diabolic Strength on the Sorcerer. All right. Fair enough. So pretty straightforward abilities on these guys. Warp Time and Firestorm, both on Ahriman, as well as Death Hex. It's where you want them for the most part. And then we have a second instance of Warp Time as well as Prescience on the High Magister Sorcerer. It seems like pretty good, a pretty good redundancy, but I don't know how much damage Tomb King's going to be able to do to characters. I think that might be kind of a pipe dream for him. He doesn't have any snipers, obviously, and he'd have to actually fight the the knights through 90 cultists or 80 cultists here, which I think might be a little tough. Looks like we're just picking secondaries for the players here. We've chosen Big Game Hunter for Wolfvonmibu and Ground Control. Ground Control is an interesting one. I think he's just hoping that he can blast the knights down early and then be able to take the entire board with Warp Timing Cultists running around the table. I think that's going to be maybe a little tough. The knights can certainly kill a bunch of cultists, especially if they are able to shoot down the Chaos Space Marines that they want to hit and then charge into the cultists afterwards in the fight phase. It gets the maximum damage output of those knights, and they can quickly squish through a bunch of infantry. As we did see in the last game, in the finals game for Pod 2, we did see the knights being able to gun down several Imperial Guard units in one shooting phase before charging additional ones. But it does kind of require them not to be fighting, Obliterators and Rubric Marines and all these other big scary threats that are going to be on the table. So we'll see how it goes. Tomb King actually selected his secondaries before the game started this time around. He brought the Reaper, which makes sense a lot. You can basically max that out by killing cultists. He brought Butcher's Bill, which might be a little awkward if you're going to take those Reaper points. Then you don't get either of the units that you killed for Butcher's Bill. But you do get it on characters. So once he starts getting into the characters, I found that Butcher's Bill becomes much easier. But there's so many infantry. Wolfvonmibu's entire army is infantry besides his Daemon Prince. So you can... You probably max your Reaper pretty quickly, and then you can just start grabbing those Butcher's Bill points. Lastly, we have Engineers, which Tomb King has selected for two of his Heretic Astartes squads, his Chaos Space Marine squads, to be his Engineers. It's a pretty safe one. There's very little indirect fire on Wolfvonmibu's side. He's basically hoping that he can get a deep strike from his obliterators into them. And if he can do that, it's pretty good. But otherwise, those guys are just going to sink up 4 points for Tomb King and just grab that pretty quickly. Last, it looks like we have settled on the last secondary for Wolfvonmibu. It is Old School, which I think might be a little tough. I imagine Tomb King... Although Tomb King does play pretty aggressively, he usually gives you the ability to kill his stuff on the top of one, or bottom of one in this case. Killing his Warlord is pretty easy because his Warlord is the Rampager, which is always going to be up close and personal to you. And if it hasn't died, then it's going to kill you, and you're going to lose the game anyway. So who cares? And we have a gorgeous mirrored deployment, mirrored placement almost for the objectives in this scenario. What's yours is mine. Looks like Tomb King has placed objective 4, and he is holding objective 2. His goal is going to be to hold those 2 objectives, and all he has to do is get 1 knight on there every turn and just dominate that area of the board. And he's going to be able to grab 1 or 2 bonus points from that. I think. Be going first in this scenario is very, very strong. And at the same time, we have Wolfvonmibu deploying conservatively with 5, and then he's going to have to make it all the way over to 3. So certainly, I think the fight happens in this area right here, where Tomb King's going to be advancing towards that objective, and then he's going to have to hold that down with the knights. And I think we see some long guns on Wolfvonmibu's side castled up in this area. Potentially some of his heavy hitters so that they don't get shot by Gatling cannons turn 1. And then we also potentially see some Rubrics hiding somewhere. I wonder if you could hide the Rubrics in here so that they're more than an inch away from the walls so they can't be charged. But out of line of sight of the battle cannon knight here. The battle cannon could move 12, probably to here, and see down through this. So you have a little bit of space. You could potentially forward deploy those Rubrics in. And then anytime you need to, obviously if you do move up and you get within that 24, they can double tap you. Otherwise, they can pop out and attack objective 4, anything that's on objective 4. There aren't any... Going second, the Risen Rubric combo is not nearly as good. But we will see how it ends up going for Wolfvonmibu. It might be worth it just to get that extra couple inches closer. Dylan Holmes, yeah, thanks everybody for the chat, by the way, for dropping in. I believe we'll have one more game actually tonight, potentially my game from Pod 12, if that does get scheduled, which I'd have to look up. But I appreciate everybody coming in on this beautiful Thursday evening. Watch our Thursday afternoon is where it is. I am in East Coast USA, and watching some 40K. Dylan Holmes said the Moirax can do some work on obliterators for sure. 100%. It can one-shot the obliterators, dealing 4 damage to them. They do get an invulnerable save against it, so it's not 100%. But it is pretty good. He's not like other kids. Do the new Psychic Awakening Rubric Marine strats work on the rubrics that are in a Chaos Space Marine detachment? Yeah, so you have to have the Thousand Suns detachment to gain access to them. But then at that point, any stratagem that just targets a Rubric Marine, then you can put them in. He's not like other kids. You do not place them in the Thousand Suns detachment to keep a slot open for the cultists. Well, you don't need the cultists are troops, so he's not using all of his troop slots. What he did bring them in for is, I believe, he can potentially keep them safe with the Iron Hands strat to let them short wounds the cultists. He can also get access to reroll ones to hit from the Daemon Prince. Which the Thousand Suns detachment doesn't have a Daemon Prince in it, so it doesn't give you. There's no reroll ones available to him in that detachment. So that makes him a little bit more reliable at the cost of a little bit of efficiency, because you are you're taking an elite choice with them and not troops, and also obviously they lose their obsec ability. Dylan Holmes, yeah, I think he did say that he put a Vow of Carnage down, but I don't know if we noted it. He mentioned it before the game, but I'm not sure that it is in play right now. Sam Moyer, yeah, Knights won first turn. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully Tomb King can leverage it a little bit better than he did in his finals game. I think it'll be interesting and definitely force Wolfvonmibu into a corner, which is not where he wants to be, having a lot of 24-inch range guns. All the guns on all of his scariest units are 24 inches, which is makes things a little awkward. The better Knights have a 2-inch reach through wall stratagem. Does that let you only attack units that are on the second level? I'm going to look that up real quick. I think we did. It's a Devastating Reach, I believe, is the name of the Reach Through Wall strat. Let's look here. Devastating Reach, yeah. It reads, select one enemy unit that is entirely honored within ruins or sector mechanica structure and which has no models on the ground floor. Yeah, so you have to be 100% on the second level in order to be hit by the chainsword stratagem, chat. So that will not work to reach through that wall. Dylan Holmes, it's a dangerous game to go first. If he doesn't get targets, he will be on the wrong side of efficient. Yeah, I assume you're talking about Tomb King here. Interesting placement by these River Marines. They are a little aggressively placed. They're going to eat a lot of Gatling gun shots, and those are 2 damage, so you don't get the all is dust +1 save against them. Otherwise, these guys don't really care that much about -2 AP. The Chaos Knight player, yeah, placed objectives 4. Oop, we lost our place here. Placed objectives 4 and 2. So those are. I allocated them to the player so that the even would be on one side and the odd would be on the other. So we've got 5 and. Where did my thing go? 5 and 3 for Wolfvonmibu, whereas. The Chaos Knights are trying to get 4 and 2. Like I was saying earlier, this Rampager is going to book it right into this objective to get that bonus point. Wolfvonmibu is very correctly setting up to absolutely destroy him if when he moves up there. Let's see. Mac Bray, my opponent for T5S2 for Pod 12. Yeah, dude. I'll hit you up when we're done, and we'll get our game going. That'll be sick. So we'll have another game right after this, guys. So right after this game wraps up, we'll have some Tyranids versus some Raven Guard. Very cool melee-focused Raven Guard. Not a list that you see very often. You normally see the Centurion version, but this one has... I love it. I love the spice. 3 Chaplain Dreadnoughts, all of which have double close combat weapons. We're going to Shadow Step those guys around the table. Maybe a Master of Ambush to some of them. Just throw dudes right in my face. It's going to be an interesting game. I don't know how I'm going to deal with all the aggression. I do have a bunch of Exocrines and garbage. It's not very good at people running at them with jump packs. That'll be an exciting game right after this one, so go ahead and stay on the line after this game finishes up. Torin, question for Trevi in the chat. Would you take a Pure Tide Engram chick at the cost of 2 CP? That is a regen. That's regen on 6s, is that right? For Pure Tide Engram? But it regens on both players. I honestly, I don't take those relics very often because they're so random. A lot of times you just don't get any use out of them. And typically you think about it and you're like, oh, this should be somewhere around 0.5 CP per turn, right? So if we go, or per round, if we go 3 rounds, because it rolls on both players, if we go 3 rounds, then we're going to be... it'll be 3 CP. It pays for itself, and then you just don't roll 6s, and you don't get any CP back. Plus, once you get to turn 3, most people are out of CP. Either you or your opponent are probably going to be out. So if you blow all your CP in one go, it's not very good. So honestly, I don't think I would, personally, but that is a personal preference thing. Yeah, it looks like we are deploying very heavily for Wolfvonmibu here to soak everything that goes into Objective 4 right up. With that once per game reroll wounds plus the veterans plus the double shoot, I have a hard time imagining a unit of Noise Marines at full strength doesn't just blast a knight down, right? They could do 12 hits through saves pretty easily. That unit's shooting 51 times twice with +1 to wound and rerolls. I think you can do it. So I would... I think I would not take a Pure Tide Engram there, Torin, as your as the answer to that question. Jonathan Yarling, he should have placed number 4 on the other side of the ruin. Should have placed on the other side of... which ruin are you referring to there, Jonathan? Should have placed in... Oh, on the other side here. So he should have placed here. That you might be right. He doesn't really lose much going at it. But Defender placed objectives first, so I think he wanted to force the fight into this corridor, right? So that the entire game is going to be on a single flank, and he can leverage his long-range firepower a little bit more. If he places the objective here, then all 3 of his knights have to fight through the ruins, right? And you can't really concentrate everything on one side, and as we've seen... he's placed 3 of his biggest threats on this side, plus the Avenger Gatling Cannon has been placed well to move around the wall and shoot into it. So I do think this is the right call. This does give a little bit better line of sight, but it kind of makes you... it makes it harder for you to hold your Objective 3 here. He's not like other kids. Yeah, no Rubric infiltration, unfortunately, in this case. So far, we've seen that combo on the stream 2 times, and it's never gone off because the Thousand Suns player has gone second both times. It's unfortunate because I'd really like to see how much damage it does. Thematically, it's very cool. You can imagine sort of like these guys are rising up with sand cascading off their armor, and they're... and they just blast you immediately. I think that would be very cool. But so far it hasn't happened. And I do wonder if these guys are going to be the weakest link and just get toasted by the Avenger Gatling Cannon Knight. I don't like the position on this Daemon Prince either. I don't know what the plan is for Wolfvonmibu here. Maybe he's just going to Maybe he just fills the whole deployment zone with cultists so that nothing's able to get to that Daemon Prince. But as it stands right now, it's going to be in danger of being shot by something. Torin, I think it probably was the most powerful Tau relic. I think the relics in the standard codex are pretty naff for the most part, is the general consensus. But you with greater good now, yeah, you can spend all those CPs just getting prototype weapon systems, and it's much better. That wasn't something that Tau had access to previously, and I think it does change a lot for the faction. Let me take a look at the... I keep mentioning the Iron Hands... the Iron Warriors, excuse me, jeez. I'm going to make that mistake. Be prepared for me to make that mistake like 12 more times in this game. Because I'm going to do it. This is not what I want. Yeah, so the stratagem to throw cultists in the way of guns, I think, is pretty important in this case. Cannon fodder, 2 CP. It makes you untargetable as long as a cultist unit is closer. A single cultist unit, yeah. Unfortunately, all these cultist units are 10-man. And they have to be Chaos Iron Warriors cultists. So I maybe we don't see that stratagem go down. And it only works on one thing. So I do think maybe we see a cultist unit just ring around here and prevent those guys from getting hit by one of these night attacks. It does make the target priority awkward because you basically then have to dump the battle cannon into them, which you don't want it into the cultists, I guess, because I think the damage output, on the Avenger Gatling cannon is much better against those, against those Rubric braids. Oh, excuse me. I did add this new lighting widget to the map today. I hope you guys enjoy that. Creates this kind of dynamic lighting, which I think makes it look a little bit more realistic, which is very cool. We can choose the direction of sunlight coming into the map. It makes it hard to measure. Somebody pointed out on stream the other day that it does make it hard to measure if you're measuring shadows for things. But I think with the new widgets, I don't think you need that as much, and it does kind of impact visually quite a bit.
We will try, so you have to go in front so we can hide you. You have no snipers or sniping things or something I have to think about, right?
Nope, only thing you can snipe is a punch to the face. Works pretty good.
That's the style I like. Okay.
Yes.
Ah, man, this was a fucking nightmare shift. Fucking nightmare shift. 2 fires in 1 shift. This is like, man.
McBray, the cultists ended up in the ruin, but they do have to be completely within 6 inches of the Iron Warrior unit they're protecting. So with this placement, they will not protect the Rubric Marines here. He does still have 1 more cultist unit, I believe, to place. I think that's only 2.
I still have too many cultists left over here.
Yeah.
What do we do?
Yeah. I'll snipe you with my fists. Yeah, that's usually my response playing Tyranids too. I think Team Geeks 20's got the right idea there. And we're just going to throw these guys up in the meat grinder. I don't like giving the Rampager additional charge distance, but putting these guys right up at the top. I think you kind of... He's so fast, though. If he takes the D3 wounds to pick +2 speed, he goes to speed 14 plus 1, 15 when it advances, plus an advance in charge. So potentially you could be going 21 plus a charge with +1 distance. So a minimum threat range of 24. He probably reaches back to here. So I think you maybe keep these cultists a little bit farther back to make that charge hard. But at that point, I guess they do have to run back in. Although I think you can make some pretty reliable to get into the objective.
In the 5th round of the Quarantine, I lost the possessed on. And I played such a dumb mistake. It wasn't even a mistake. It was even a
14.
mistake.
14 Centurions beat me in that one.
Ah, god damn it. Centurions. Possessed bomb and thunder fire cannons. No disrespect to any Space Marine player, but I think a monkey would be able to beat me with 3 Imperial Fist thunder fire cannons. It's such a strong list.
That is some hardcore trash talking from the players here. Guys, chat, what do you think about that? A monkey can win with 3 Imperial Fist Thunderfire cannons.
And a 3 indirect fire forge world platform that can shoot twice.
No, I did not. Only with weapons. Only with weapons. This is like
Matt Green would be tempted to throw the rubrics in the center to reduce the knight's movement. That is an interesting call. I believe is the Rubers and Rubric an after deployment stratagem? No, they have their new redeploy power, I think, is the... I'm going to double check that. So could he deploy them and then decide to move them out? I don't think he would have.
And it was like, what did he just do? So he shot me in the 1st round and was like, okay, cool. Only 1/3 of my army is dead. No problem. And he has some silly jump units, and he came down and he just shot the other rest of my army. This was like, it was, yeah.
Sounds like one of those fun ones.
Yeah.
It is when you set up, so he would have to use it now.
I think Indomitus Crusade or something like that. And I had totally forgot about it. 200 shots, strength 5.
So it could be...
Tesla hits on any 6 and 5 they rolled.
Is that Glarg's list? Glarg, did you play Wolfvonmibu? You were talking about playing 18 Inceptors. So you could make it a little tough if you just put rubrics here, right?
Where are you, Mr. Duncan?
But you just give up the unit. I think one way that you beat knights typically is that you force them into you, because then the closer they get to you, the more concentrated your damage output typically becomes. So if you can force the knights to move up the table and move into objective 4, suddenly they're getting hit by 4 smites. They're getting hit by all of this 24-inch range shooting, and they're getting charged by a Daemon Prince. So it seems to me that the limiting the movement is cute, but I don't think it gets you very far, in my opinion. Yeah, Deuce 83, yeah, he doesn't have the Cult of Duplicity. That's what I was looking up. He has a Cult of Magic on these guys.
I don't say something like interesting, which is like, oh no, what did I do wrong?
You're good. Alright, so deployments are gone. Alright.
A little bit of banter between these players. I do like it.
So what is the squad? So you got 2,000 Sun squads? Where did they cut off? Right here, I guess?
Yeah, I just put them 1 half here, 1 half here.
I wonder if we get a highlight on these guys.
So why are not highlighted, but why are numbered? So this is
Oh, he has numbered them.
1.
Well,
and
that's
over here
easy.
is unit 2. 1, 2.
Perfect.
Okay.
I do like Cult of Duplicity, though. I totally missed, when we commentated Znar's game, I totally missed that they just have to jump as the Cult of Duplicity special.
No, and I will not play. I will not pray, I think. I will just take the relic and be done with it.
Okay. So that gives it once per game.
What's one pick?
Yeah, the new Duplicity Psychic power is insane. It's a Gate of Infinity effectively for 1,000 Sons of a Tree.
Okay.
So you just port Scarab Call Terminators around the table all day. It's super good.
Yeah.
What's Lucius saying? Look, he always strikes first in combat, too, doesn't he?
So he does, and he has power sword. Only mastercraft the power sword in the game. So power sword with damage 2.
Man Green, it's good with Zangors. Yeah, to pull the Zangors back into Deep Strike. Is that what you're thinking?
He will try to.
I do like that. That's always a good opportunity to have.
Okay. First things first, I owe you a leadership from my big guy here.
Interesting. There's only 2 units of Cultists on Objective 5.
Here to get most leadership.
We could see those guys, especially if some leadership goes wrong, they could start getting blasted by the indirect fire on the Chaos Knights.
Leadership on those to start the game. So I have a couple options here.
Yeah, the Shoot Twice stratagem is designed to combo with Risen Rubric to give 1,000 Sons a very strong alpha strike. The beta strike's not as important because you're going to move into their range eventually, and that's what Wolfvonmibu is setting up here.
It's totally fine, but I would love to hear your thoughts about what you're thinking at the moment, and then.
Wolfvonmibu actually asking his opponent to voice his battle plan also, which I do love. It would definitely make the stream a little bit more interesting.
I'm going to shoot all 3 of these squads off the table and charge your Demon Prince and try to kill him. I'd obviously charge both of these, but I don't think I'd kill your Demon Prince outright in combat because you have a 5-up invul. And I got to do 8 wounds. So that's a tall order for a Discord. To also kill that and the Iron Warrior Sorcerer there. So I think he just smite me off the board next turn. The Rubrics back here, are they getting 2+ save right now?
Yeah, we're at 2+ save right now with cover.
Because they're all touching the woods.
This was my intent, at least. I think they are all, yeah.
Yeah, just reading the woods here.
Forest. Oh, we even have a 2-top up here to read. Oh, you are already reading it. Ignore me.
Yeah. Okay, so then I get 2 to charge too. Okay. I don't think I need to boost any of my guns. I think that's nonsense. We can move these guys up to 10 and then shoot 24 inches, correct?
I can move them up with warp time 10 and then shoot them 24 inches, yes.
So 34 threat range.
Yes.
Okay. We can do the same for these guys. These guys move 6 plus 2 is 8.
8.
So they can move 16 and then fire, which puts them at a 42 threat range. That puts them at a 42 threat range.
Yes. 8 plus advance. 16. How much did you say?
What's that? 42.
42, so 16. Yeah, 40, wait, 16, 24, 40. Yeah, 40 plus 2 advance rolls.
Oh. So 52. That hurts. All right. So the only thing that I need to consider here is whether or not to
get into range
this guy out there. And whether or not to boost him. Because nobody else needs a boosted gun, because all your stuff is literally the same.
Yeah.
But I do need to kill some units this turn. Alright, so I can advance you up to 22. But I don't think it's close enough to do what I want to do. Not nearly. So I'm going to do something unheard of here. I'm not going to boost. Well, hold on, I want to boost this guy's movement. Oh my gosh, I hate this. There we go, 12 inches. How many units are in here? Just the 2?
Just the 2.
And then you have, oh, where are your objectives, dude? That's your ground control. I mean, I could try to kill these guys out here because they're not going to get a cover save.
Why not?
AP minus 2, so you're just going to get 6 up, it's a 5 up, and 0.
Oh, so we will get cover, we will get cover, but they will not get saves. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, because the battle cannon guy.
Yeah, no. You said we will not get cover saves, and was like, oh, you ignore cover. I did not know what. Okay.
No. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Okay, my bad.
That's a squad.
1 unit, 2 unit, 3 unit, 3 units.
Yeah, so the 3 units there. So to kill the, I think it's a tall order. I think it's a very, very tall order, and I think I'd overcome that.
Sam Ware complaining a little bit in chat that Veil of Darkness is basically psychic power. I think that's literally always been true, effectively, because your Gate of Infinity's been a bit of power since like 3rd edition. But it is the access to it's extremely. It used to be just on every Space Marine librarian almost, right? But now it's only on a very limited subset of subfactions have access to it. So I think it's okay. It's an extremely powerful ability, but if you're getting it in Chaos Space Marines, it's only the subfaction of a subfaction in Cult of Duplicity, and if it's pretty much the same in Imperium because you can only do it on Grey Knights, and Orcs are basically their own subfaction, so it's like the same deal.
Okay, so let's see what I can do for an advance on the Discord here real quick.
Big roll in the Disco Lord. We'll see how far he can go to try to get a warp time. Only 2 inches.
CP reroll?
Deuce 83. What's hilarious is somebody tries to wrap a Duplicity unit and you facade them away. Yeah. I've done that with Gate of Infinity too. And I've had it done to me with Necron players. Like everybody gets to do it sometime. Or you wrap a Grot or something against Orcs and I can shot with the shocks and they just jump them out.
Try to charge it here.
Matt Green, if the Emperor's Children detachment was not Emperor's Children, it wouldn't have access to the excruciating frequency strat, and it wouldn't have access to the reroll wounds relic. I actually think the Noise Marine bomb is not quite viable without the that Legion. We did CP reroll the 2-inch advance on the Tomb King's Lord Discordant for a 3-inch advance instead. I can see an argument for like the Rubric Marines maybe being in Alpha Legion or the Obliterators. But I don't hate the setup that Wolfvonmibu has now. He has the ability to protect them. It's just he won't in this game because he hasn't set up for it. But he can sort of pseudo protect them with Cultists.
If you go 18, you would be here.
Oh, 18. Sorry, yeah, 18. So
and it would be a 9-inch or a 10-inch charge.
Deuce 83, you don't like the Noise Marine detachment because it misses out. It misses out on the strikes last into strikes first. Is that what you mean? With the Flower Blight spawn, forcing strikes last.
Yes.
Yeah, buddy, I needed a little bit higher of a roll than that.
But you can decide with the next roll, right?
What's that?
You can decide after you cast it with warp time, right?
But again, regardless of the Legion you put them in, if they're not Emperor's Children, they don't do any damage basically.
Oh, okay. I think instead of doing that, these guys can move 10 and shoot still. So if I can check out this wall here. Matt Green, if the shoot twice stratagem on
Rubric Marines.
I think the right move is to come back. All right.
Didn't have the can't move clause. It would be good on Terminators and Rubrics. Yeah, I mean it's meant for them. I think I mentioned this earlier, but I think it's meant to combo with Risen Rubric is the idea.
What's the AP on your
But
blasters?
yeah, giving straight up shoot twice is
I'm not scared of those. I am, but
pretty good.
at least
And I think they want to keep that as a Slaanesh sub-faction thing.
I have AP of 2.
okay, yeah, because he's sitting on a 2+ save. So he's less threatened by it. There's still
Yeah, Tomb King.
CP and do your nastiness.
I'm trying to make some decisions here.
All right, sorry, I'm moving this guy a couple times. Oh my gosh, I hate this update. Um, 13.8. I kind of went around the corner there, so I slowed it down some. I think I'll go another 0.2 just for the range. All right.
So, Chad, how many cultists do we see die this turn? Tomb King did mention that he wanted to go for the cultists and try to deliver the Lord Discordant through them and into the Demon Prince. Do you think he pumps everything into the cultists, or he leaves them alive and tries to get these Rubric Marines with the Gatling cannons? I think that's the play I would make.
Visible.
I think if I were a Tomb King. Van X and Necron, what's up, man? Thanks for joining.
Just making sure you can see him here. There. Yeah. Okay. Oh my gosh, hate this. Okay. Yeah, he's there. All right.
Choices. Samware, yeah, we're going to move to a chess clock in the next rules update for the series.
These guys are just going to move up.
It's going to be, it'll be generous. I think it'll be 2 or more hours per player, just because TTS sometimes is funky and you need a little bit more time to resolve like combats and things like that. But no game should really go over 3 hours 40. MacBray Colin, he's going to kill the 2,000 Sun squads in the front. So there are 2,000 Suns Cultist squads here and here.
He's got a 14-inch move. Sorry.
I think he kills both of them. Yeah, he does have to kill through 40 Cultists to get a charge through. I think he might, Tomb King might be rethinking that plan.
And not go a little further. Yeah, he's going to be dead. Okay. I'm out of range.
Samware, yeah, that's on the high side for sure.
9 guy.
I think most of mine has finished within 3.5.
24-inch range.
Very few go to 4.
We have a
90 is a little
inches, right?
is a little fast.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I was just curious because you was measuring here with a 30.
Your threat range is what I was writing. Where's your
I'm
threat
still
range?
in.
24
I'm
inches.
still in range. What?
No, I was measuring what you could possibly get to.
Ah, what I could. Yeah. Okay, makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
No. Shooting there, but
Looks like Tomb King setting up to really blast some cultists.
make sure I'm just over 34.
The biggest mistake Tomb King could make in this game is overcommitting.
Armor off again.
He does have the significant ranged threat, so he's certainly or Wolfvonmibu certainly the aggro in the matchup, and the onus is on him to force up the table and get those those big attacks off. There's a non-zero chance any one of these units kills a knight when it shoots it. Or probably not the Rubrics, but certainly the Emperor's Children with all of their buffs or the Obliterators could potentially do it. With some good dice. So it's on Tomb King to basically stop that from happening.
Okay. Second phase. I think that's all my moves. Okay, yep. That is me. We're going to do Delightful Agonies on the Discord. Did that feel okay? Goes off on a 10. And we're going to warp time the Discord. I think it needs a 6, doesn't it?
Failed the warp time. I don't even know if you need... I wonder if we're going for a warp time to put this guy here so he's not in range of the Emperor Children. Yeah, I think that's what he's saying.
That's unfortunate. I'm second putting CP here.
We're going to reroll the 2. Into an 8. There you go.
Okay. And he can advance. Good old 2. So he's at 14.
Yeah, it looks like he is going to use that warp time to get into a safer position for a better charge next turn. He doesn't have to get too far forward. He does advance and charge and potentially can warp time later. And putting him out in the open here means that he just gets killed by Rubric Marines or something. Smited down, and then the Rubric Marines double shoot and blow him up.
Okay. We'll be able to see him that way. And let's turn that tail around. I can't put it in the wall. I can do it.
Vanex, the next round, yeah, I have a sunlight.
I think that's going to be him.
Gizmo installed here. So it
okay. Let's see what happens. I might just be
makes
sunlight and get myself killed, which is always a good thing, right?
Yeah, it's a direct sunlight object spawn.
Mm-hmm. Starting with the Moriax, he's going to shoot the 10-man squad here. 2d6 shots. Grab his dice. His dice are going to be the yellow ones.
I do like it. I think it makes the game just look generally a ton better.
He's got.
It is interesting. A lot of these maps just kind of really get turned up to 11 by realistic shadows.
Move to the top, so I'm going to shot him. One less taken out here. All right, so these need 3s, and then anything but.
We're trying as hard as we can to make ITC ruins look good. Basically.
Ouch! That'll do, gentlemen. He does 1 wound.
Wounded.
That hurt. I might have to change some things.
Yeah, definitely changing small things on the ITC ruins map makes it look a lot different. Especially if you're used to playing the vanilla version a lot.
Cultists, do they have a 6-up?
But the plan is, like I was mentioning in the stream last night, the plan is to slowly evolve into new maps that are a little bit more thematic and a little bit prettier.
I got 9 stubber shots.
We're just going to make do with this for now until we graduate.
Here. And then he's going to shoot his you know what? I don't want to shoot him quite yet. Do I? Kind of need to reroll to hit. I kind of limited this guy's ability to target anything. I don't think you can see. Oh, oh my gosh. Can you see through there? Morax needed to roll slightly better than he did. That is unfortunate. But the nature beast. This guy, see my net.
MacBray, yeah, we actually don't play with the 2 craters that are
Okay.
usually in the center.
He's gonna go and shoot his first into this.
The version that we started the series
shots.
with didn't have them, so we just continued it like that for now. Typically, we let the players decide whether they want to use it or not.
He hits with 1.
No
wounds. Well.
If in case they want to include them, but I think it clutters up the center a little bit too much, in my opinion.
Okay. There's I have to go through squads. So I'm gonna spend 2 CP, reroll this guy. Alright. He's gonna shoot 1 battle cannon at this squad, 1 battle cannon at this squad, 1 stubber at this squad, 1 stubber at this squad. Is Top Gun's gonna go with this squad.
Actually, the only reason I'm using this version of the map, I actually don't like these ruins very much. These ruin sections here. The only reason I'm using this one is because it interacts well with the wider objective markers. We don't have to do any funky gizmoing to make them fit into the ruins if they need to go in there. Which is why I'm using this mod, this map. But usually the Panzer one that's on Steam does not have those craters in it.
Who knows?
Which is the one that we started on.
Battle cannon. And last
like I said, the maps will eventually change though, and so we'll adapt.
Okay. So yeah. First things first. The right squad here. And where's their 10th guy? This guy or is it this guy? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Here
7,
is Cultist
8,
1 and
9.
2 with a 1, and here is Unit 2 with a 2.
Okay,
1,
so I'm in range.
2.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. He's going to spend 2 CP to reroll. I'm not sure if I already did it. Oh, I didn't. Okay.
Van X, I don't think there is a perfect ITC map. And I think it is important actually to have maps that are a little varied. Brendan Spearin, yeah, we're becoming the Tomb King YouTube channel.
Normal AP. Normal AP.
I
spent 2 CP to reroll.
Not even WTC has a single map it uses, right? And I think a lot of people use this map because it's analogous to Nova, and it has some good protection for a couple different deployment zones. But honestly, I think it does have, it's a little boring. It's not, aesthetically very exciting. And some of the deployments get a little funky with it. Search and Destroy, in particular, can get very strange because it's definitely oriented for the on the short table edge side. It's oriented to deploy here, right? Oh, where did my cursor go? That was weird. For Search and Destroy, you're trying to deploy here, right? Because you have these 2 pieces of cover and 2 shadow zones, which you can usually have if you have a hammer and anvil deployment like that. But in Search and Destroy, you have this side, and you have this is a very narrow shadow zone, and then this protects you, and this gives you a teeny bit, and that's it, right? You have like maybe 20% of your deployment zone is actually covered. So There's definitely there's room for improvement on this map in particular, but I do think that having maps as included as part of the pregame selection is important, and that's where we're gonna I think head for T5S2 to make the terrain part of the player skill, which is something that I really enjoy. Brennan Spearin, yeah, he remembered the Flamer on the last round of the game, or maybe the last round that played out. He remembered he had flamethrowers.
So AP -1, 4 more. How many does that leave with you?
Florian, why not get in contact with the BCB guy? We are using his map
2 guys left.
right now.
Oh, did I?
And the plan is to additive load new maps into it. I'm not sure. So, which I think, which is clearly the intention of his of his map, right?
Yeah, I can't see anything, so that is what it's gonna be. All right, Stubbers first with this other squad. Reroll the hit. Helps these guys do so much better. One is negative AP1, so 1 will die, and then 2 saves, 6 subs.
Yeah, BCB. It's a little awkward. I'm not really part of the TTS community proper, so I don't know what happened. But there was a kind of a falling out. As far as I know, everyone's kind of kissed and made up, but I don't really know that for sure. McBray, the plan would be eventually to modify or to create a new base map, but that is sort of beyond my technical skill right now. So right now we may modify this one to make it a little bit more user friendly, and then have the new maps additive load into it. I think is how it's gonna work in the meantime, until we're at a point where we can kind of get a little bit more technical with it. Florian, chest clocks are just spawnable items. You can just spawn them. Okay. I have one saved. I could add one to this game right now. Brennan Spearin, thanks for the sub, man. I appreciate it. I'm glad you're liking the videos. Hope you join us over on the Discord as well.
The issue is these guys are fearless, aren't they? Oh no, he's not fearless.
No.
Demon Prince is not. Yeah. Okay.
The Demon Prince is fearless, but the Demon Prince makes only Iron Warriors fearless. And the blue guys are Thousand Suns.
Good call. Good call. I'm going to shoot all 24 of my DACA shots into the Rubrics.
What AP do you have?
AP -2.
I will spend 1 command point to give them door duty. So you have only AP1.
There you go. Oh, plus 1 AP on the, or plus 1 save on the Thousand Suns from the Iron Warriors stratagem.
And then his Top Gun is going to go into the 2-man squad just to make sure they die.
Samware, is it possible to surround the Discord Lords with the Cultists without charging it? I mean, you can put models an inch away from it, right? But it can heroically intervene. So you have to make a 3-inch bubble around it to surround it. So you'd have to basically be out here.
Yep.
Yeah.
You can't move through the wall, so you could be like that. That's possible, especially with a warp time. But I don't know if that's where Wolfvonmibu wants to spend his warp time.
Champion still alive.
Yep. 24 shots at the Rubrics.
You can't get within an inch of you can't get within an inch of things without charging them, though, for the most part.
All right.
But that dude will straight up kill like 12 cultists in one go easily. 15 wounds going through on these Rubric Marines. They are at a 3-up save, though, so we should only see 5 dead here. Theoretically... Oh, dear. That's a lot. Oh, that's only 6. Okay. Could have been worse. but that's to be expected when a Avenger Gatling Cannon Knight shoots you.
Shot. I don't think this guy's in range of anything. He can't do anything.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 40 seconds. 1, 2. Okay. Let's see the problem. So you have to die and you have to die. 6 guys. Okay.
Okay. Yes, I think that is my shooting.
Okay. Charge phase. You want to charge something?
No.
All right, that's the end of Tomb King's turn.
No, I don't want to regulate.
We'll
So
see
I
if
will
we.
just go roll for leadership.
I think we see one of these
Cost
cultist
7,
squads run
so
away.
if I roll low, they can stay alive. And I roll low, so they will stay alive.
Ooh, roll a 1 on one more, Al.
And I will spend 2 CP to let.
Oh man.
Nice.
So that's some pro play there from Wolfvonmibu, actually sequencing his leadership checks in a way that makes sense.
Yes, way of healers.
The he rolled the leadership check that was a little bit more
Yeah, the fact that I
a little bit easier first. Because if he rolls 3 or below, I think they stick around. And then he used the 2 CP to fail to auto pass the other one. If these guys should run away, auto passing the other one doesn't matter that much. And that denies Tomb King a kill this turn. He didn't push forward, so he's no bonus for him. So he's just gonna score 1 point. That's a big deal. But we do see him playing defensively, which is what we thought we were gonna do in the finals game last night. And that's going to potentially deny Wolfvonmibu an old school point this turn, which is a big deal.
Reach him, but you should be able to reach him. Yeah, okay. Then that's the last one. Okay, so we will have to advance, I think. Okay, so we will spend the 2 CP.
Okay.
Now, let's see. Are you in 1 edge? I think you are.
Yeah, let's see.
Yeah.
If you get it all the way up, like into the wall.
Again, please.
Yeah, I think if you get it into the wall.
But I only have to be at my side of the wall to reach you, right? Or do you? Yeah. Okay. Good.
Well, I think the wall itself is just under an inch, and I'm not on the wall.
Okay. To be honest, you just measured from the base to the other side of the wall. I measured from the base to the other side of the wall, so I'm not really interested how much the wall is over here or something like it, because you're in 1 inch.
It certainly looks like he's able to measure.
We both measured the same thing.
An inch.
Is there a problem?
That's why I went to the side because it was measured because it like ends on the wall itself. There you go. So yes, if you like get all the way up into the wall, yeah, you can get him.
Maybe I have a linguistic problem at the moment. Are you saying I can get in or I cannot get in?
Yeah, go ahead and say you can get in. I'll just say you can get in. I don't care enough. Yeah, you can get in.
It looks like the Lord Discordant's going to be within an inch of the edge of the wall there, so the Demon Prince can get in. Into melee?
This is a totally another question.
Yeah.
Okay, so first up, you guys want to go over here.
Demon Prince potentially
potentially
having a demonic strength on it from the iron.
Now you know what I was doing. Having trouble with. They broke
this is so dumb. How can I measure
hold control or do hold control while you do it too? It's a bit of a painful thing, but.
Okay, am I outside of 1 inch here? No.
Just put him right there.
No. I'm not. I have to stay on this side of the wall.
Okay.
So let's see if we can get 12 inches. So would be standing like over here or something. God,
Demon Prince might be trying to go for the Discord Lord right now.
I hate this thing so
Some logistical difficulties on the part of the players right now. The Demon Prince,
You're fine. I just marked it for you.
I think is going into the Disco Lord. It has potential diabolic strength from the Iron Warrior Sorcerer, and in that position, it's going to be a little bit harder for it to be killed by a knight. Because yeah, it'll be interesting. I don't know if he can. He'll be in charge range next turn if he kills the Disco Lord, but I think he's got to get rid of the Disco Lord right now. Otherwise, it's going to come in and potentially engage his guns, and that's not good. It's also screening out the center from the Obliterators deep striking in. So between this guy's screen out to here and potentially a run and maybe a warp time here, we could see a big screen out, and then the Moirax screen even maybe. And taking a big part of that out off the table is, I think, a big deal for Wolfvonmibu. He also wants to get the kill this round because it is worth 2 points. And that's going to be the easiest model to kill. That's in threat range. Tomb King played very conservatively this turn, which I think is a good plan. And denying a lot of damage, potentially, from Wolfvonmibu.
just have to attack about this column to get inside. Not enough. But I do everything I do normally. So return up, press control, move him. That's like a jump.
Yeah, I think if the FUTs, they changed the default settings in the movement tool. You can regress it back to the old version if you change the settings back to what they were. And that's the issue I think people are having. For the most part, you have to be in. There's a free measurement mode, which is basically what it used to be, and then you have to turn off. There's like a model snap, I think, too, that you have to turn off.
Just let him stay where we are. Okay. Demon Prince to not be pre-measured, so we will be able to attack you with Discordant through the wall in a second. In a second, we will fade. Yeah, in reach.
I like the position of these cultists. They're going to be able to run or to charge up into the Lord Discordant, hoping that the Demon Prince kills him. That'll hold Wolfvonmibu. That'll give Wolfvonmibu hold more. Put him in a pretty decisive lead, potentially, if he can kill that guy.
So 11 inches. So 10. More. Okay, not as far as I thought. So we will have to go back, go back, go back, go back. And the rest of the guys just comes up. Now, what do we want to do with you? What do we want to do with you? Where are you? 24 is over here. Okay. So maybe we can shoot you. Maybe. Big maybe. Okay. And the next unit of Thousand Sons Cultists will advance. Not the next, the first unit of Thousand Sons Cultists. So 8 inches. Seven, 8. And we still want you on the objective. So you stay here. Okay. No, the important part, advancing the Noise Marines. Okay, 4 inches. We will take this.
You advance on the Noise Marines is a big roll because I think he's trying to get a shot either on the Rampager or on the Lord Discordant.
11. 12.
Okay. There you go.
Okay.
12 inches.
Shit. I think it's okay. We were all standing next to each other. 12. So I hope this shouldn't be the big problem. Okay. We need 9 inches over here. We are in range. We want you to just get in here on this objective. No, you will just stay here. So you have to. We'll have to use one of your indirect fire to kill it, just so you have a problem killing it. Okay. I need 18 inches to you. I think I have 18 inches to you. This shouldn't be a problem. And you were like really, really far moving. Okay. Do you have something to deny psychic powers? A stratagem, the sorcerer.
This nice psyker. Yeah, so the sorcerer.
And the sorcerer. Okay, so just the normal deny, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. So with knowing this, we will have to spend a CP at the beginning of the sci phase. Okay, no problem. Now, the Dark Apostle wants to advance. 12 inches. Oh, moving, hitting now. So 12 inches. It's you over here. And I will just put you on objective just to. So he's on objective, and Lucius wants to advance. And 10 inches. Still good. Hitting, moving. My goodness.
We're going to see
Get him on objective?
the domination of the Psychic Phase by the Thousand Sun Sorcerers, as opposed to the standard Chaos Sorcerer on Tomb King's side.
So, I don't think. I think he was over here. Okay. So it's a physical objective. Makes sense. Okay. Now.
Getting that +1 to cast on these guys is going to make things a lot safer for Wolfvonmibu to cast his warp times. Plus, not to mention that a +6 inches of range really helps. You don't have to run up and be quite as close to the enemy.
Diagonal strength, 18 inches. So you have to go over here to be an 18. Okay. So I think I am. Are you a 9? Important. Yes. Okay. So I think I'm done with my movement phase. I will spend 1 CP in my psychic phase to get the aspiring sorcerer with Chaos Familiar Weaver of Fates. So he now knows, has forgotten Smite, but now knows Weaver of Fates, and we will start by casting, before I forget about it, Weaver of Fates. Oh no, we will start with an important fix. So, first up is 18 inches. This will not be possible. First up will be +1 to hit. Warp time is more important. Really? +1 to hit on the Noise Marines. Goes off. Warp time on the Noise Marines. Goes off. Okay, cool. Noise Marines advancing.
Brennan Spearin, yeah, it's a single unit of 3 Obliterators. Mark of Slaanesh, so they can Endless Cacophony, obviously.
Two is better.
And they are in the Iron Warriors detachment, so you get the rerolls. When you use the stratagem, the rerolls on those flesh metal guns.
10 more inches for the Noise Marines.
And ignore cover.
10 more inches. Where will 10 more inches get me?
Will I be able to reach something here? Yes. Maybe something here.
It's an interesting
Left
chaos
side
list.
shouldn't
It's
be a
basically trying
problem.
to
Everybody
kind of
can
cripple
see our
you just with
weapons.
these
So
these
10
3 big
plus.
shooting units.
Yeah, everyone. Okay, cool.
And if you do, then you can just sort of flood the whole board with cultists and win on primaries after that. But it has to kill all of your threatening units.
Tap. And 9.
Are we going 9 or are we going 10?
If we do this. Shit. Can I get you back in position? No, 0. Yeah, I think I can. Good. So, if we do this. 10 inches is 36. So the last two won't be in range. You won't be in range. You won't be in range.
I'm the turtle man. That's me.
Okay. So I'm just thinking if I'm able to stay out of line of sight of your but you can move him 12 inches, so you can just move him over here and you will get some line of sight, right? But if I move you over here, you are 10 and 24, not in range to anything. Okay. So sorry, first thought was the right thought. Should have pre-measured before. I'm an idiot. Okay. So
Vanax and Necron, there's 2 options. This map is
9.
is designed with that in mind to alleviate the issue
Of course, want to stay with
objectives being next to ruins. Obviously, the ruins in this map don't have colliders on them,
Over here. We'll go back.
so you can put the objectives right next to them and they'll extend through. Otherwise, you have to use the move widget you have to lock them and then use the move widget to put them in the right position. If you are using a different map with it. That's why I'm using this one. I like the other one better, the Panzer's version better.
Rubric Marines onto themselves.
Of ITC ruins, but this one has the.
I don't have a CP to reroll something here, so just 3 mortals.
Ew, 3 mortals on his rubrics. Well, that's what rubrics are for.
Never mind. No. I can just put it in the unit and I will into the unit.
Yeah, that's why we're using this version of ITC ruins. This is version 2.22, which is up on the Steam Workshop.
Price of 3 dead guys. Oh no.
I'll settle.
Yeah. Okay.
The one thing I don't know how to do yet is remove colliders from things. I think that requires editing of the core files, and I don't. That is beyond my technical acumen so far. But once we get there, I'd like to do that on maps that we design.
She got a lot so far.
Will not save for them. And last one will be Diabolic Strength onto the Demon Prince, and goes off. Good.
Who cast Diabolic Strength?
Again, the Sorcerer over here.
Okay.
Okay, defects not needed. +1 to hit, did go off. Okay. And I think I'm done with my psychic phase. Shooting phase.
Vanex Necron, you can remove the collider.
Yeah, I'm sorry, just thinking of a second. You have 24.
Really? Is that in the custom tab?
And how many did I say?
Hit me up with those deets.
Rage with you,
because I would love to do that to most terrain pieces in the game.
In range, so you should be in range. So you maybe not. Let's look. Oh, yes, exactly. So nobody behind you will be in range. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh, do I really want to split fire? This is not good. You can just get your knights back,
let's take a look.
What's that?
11 guys. 11 guys. So this would mean 8 guys would shoot into you. This is not enough. Not enough.
He might
not
be,
enough, not enough.
if it does have a 12-inch range, he might be mistaken because he has plus
Let's
6
try
on his Thousand Sun Sorcerers.
So 11 guys who can, and including the noise champion, or also as a combi bolter, this will not be important, will be shooting into the Night Spoiler. The heavy weapons will be shooting into the Night Spoiler. And what did I say? 11 guys, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Only 7. Only 7. 21. 6. This is like 6, 8.
It does have
This
a
is
range of
nothing.
12. He did measure 18. We'll bring that up to the players. Hey,
And 6 guys.
Wolf, as an FYI, your Diabolic Strength from the Iron Warrior Sorcerer has a 12-inch range, right?
Sorry. That's why I asked. I didn't know the range.
Sorry. My mistake. Was thinking about the Thousand Sun Springs. If it's okay for you, I will just, because it was my intent, of course, to be in range, I will just put the Sorcerer over here so you can cast it. If this is no problem. Or you say mistake is mistake. Also no problem.
We're in the shooting phase, brother.
Okay, no problem. Good.
Sorry.
So again, back to the shooting phase.
Sorry.
Ooh, this will be hard.
Chat, that's a good call.
Okay.
Yeah, it was the Iron Warrior Sorcerer. It does
Doesn't
have a
make a
range of
difference,
12,
you're
and he
toughness
was
6, right?
thinking that the Thousand Suns
Yeah,
have plus
they
6
won't.
inches
Yeah.
range.
One.
Tomb King will not allow him to take that
Cool.
move back.
No problem. So back to the important part. 11 guys and the heavy weapons into the Night Spoiler, and 6 guys into the Night Rampager.
Okay.
This is 1. Should be 20. So 11 and 6 makes no sense. So 7.
That's a good catch, chat, by the way.
Rampager.
Definitely want to make sure people
And 11 normal guys into the Despoiler.
play their stuff
and
right.
Weapons into the Despoilers. Okay, because at advanced I can only shoot by assault profile, and they are 36, so we will have to measure, and they are in range. Okay, good. So starting with the 6 guys into the Night Rampager, I pay.
Van X Necron, yeah, thanks for that tip, man. I'm gonna play around with that today. That'll be sick. There's definitely some cool stuff that I want to do with nullifying colliders, and I'm not sure how to do it yet. But if
This is a Blast Master.
if I can figure it out, then it's gonna be awesome.
Okay, yeah, never mind. I'm gonna have off.
Okay.
All right,
Yeah.
so you have you said you had 7 here.
7
11
here. 7 here, and the 11 guys that are in range will try to shoot into the spoiler, and the heavy weapons will also try to.
Phil Barfoot, yeah, it definitely seems like it. I appreciate it, man.
Starting with
I
the 7 guys
unfortunately
into the
can't look up
And
every single
you
rule
already pay
at the
CP?
same time.
I don't know, I don't think so. So I will spend 2 CP, 1 for Veterans of the Long War, and 1 for excruciating frequencies. So we get +1 straight.
Yeah, this is gonna be a ton of damage from this unit. I'm so excited to watch these guys shoot out. Woo!
Okay, I try to.
Copy the demon.
Yes, this is what I wanted to do. Okay, so we are starting off with 7 normal guys. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Advanced, +1 to hit, sitting on freeze, rerolling once because of Lucius.
Yeah, it is. It's certainly not the decision I would have made,
Okay.
but that's his call to make.
Landing on force.
I'm not. I mean,
Rerolling
I
because
can't
of
say I'm
the
happy with it, but you know, that's it's up to the players to work that out.
relic. This is the reason we talked about it. And the Barker is next to the apostle. Okay, 12 wounds. No AP.
10 wounds. You got 2, 3.
Yeah, Phil Barfoot. Yeah, we'll have to have you watch these chaos players like a hawk.
Okay, only 10 wounds.
Only 10. And they ignore cover, correct?
Wait, no cover, yes.
This is the noise marine.
Ouch.
Ooh, that was a terrible roll.
Percent on a 3-up. That'll hurt.
These guys are gonna be 2 damage each, so 10 damage.
10 damage.
Ooh, we could see that knight go down if the double shoot goes well.
And now we 11 guys into the other knight. 33 shots, hitting on freeze. Rerolling once. Okay. 29 hits. Yeah.
That hurts.
Wounding on force. Rolling everything. Okay. So we have 22 wounds.
It looks like you got 7 through, so 14 damage.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so only 14 damage. And with 2 heavy weapons, with a blast assault, so 2d6 shots. For 9 shots.
PHX Goose, you could drop a sportsman question
9 hitting on freeze.
into your score reports. Yeah.
Rerolling
We don't have a
dice.
report form anymore. We're just using it via Discord, and we'll move to a more advanced system later. Swordsmanship question is always odd because I think it's weaponizable.
And 6.
And I'm not sure how it can be I'm certainly not going to implement it in ranking 100%. That's off the table. I do think
What's the damage on these?
maintaining a high level of sportsmanship is important. So potentially down the road, as we get more advanced,
Oh, well, there's 2 wounds left.
we could have a
But I still have 2 shots with a combi bolter from the Noise Marine into him.
let's see if
Who is the combi
the combi bolter.
The Noise Champion. Over here.
Can you fire the combi bolter if you advance? These guys advanced, right?
No, I cannot. Sorry.
But hold on.
Yeah,
Brother?
I cannot. Yeah, what's...
You rolled 11 here.
Yeah, he has a
7
combi
here.
bolter and he has a combi bolter and a sonic blaster.
Okay,
Don't
so
ask
he
me
shot
why.
his-
It's in the codex. It's in the battle.
Did he
supply.
shoot? Did he shoot a sonic blaster already?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah. Okay, so we're good then.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so the sportsmanship question is a weird one. I don't believe that sportsmanship should be included in your rankings in any tournament, but maintaining a high level of sportsmanship is important. I wonder if there is a way to police it better. I think it's something we can do in the future, but right now it's kind of just me working at it, so I don't have a lot of resources.
This guy can't.
Okay.
But yeah.
Yeah. Fourth.
Matt Green, not entirely true.
And 2.
It's up to the players to know the rules and play them correctly. And if you don't, then there should be consequences, straight up.
It's gonna be 2 wounds. I did one.
Oh.
I always fail last gun save.
Yeah. Everybody always fails last gun saves. It's the same for everyone.
Yeah.
So you can
I think Endless Cacophony could see 2 Dead Knights here. That's a ton of damage.
So does he count as killed if I kill him?
Yes.
If you bring him back?
Yes, he does.
Okay.
I believe Wolfvonmibu can sequence end of phase effects though. So if Tomb King decides to pact with the Dark Gods, he could bring back that knight back immediately where it is, and then it just gets killed again.
Get 11 here.
No, unless he kills it with the Endless Cacophony. I guess that's what he's going to be doing because he doesn't have any other guns in range. Ignore me, I don't know what I'm talking about.
No, we will have to shoot more this time.
Sam Moyer, the Doom Sirens on Noise Marines ignore cover.
Okay,
So he will not get cover from those.
So 11-7.
But this is we're witnessing right now how powerful this Noise Marine combo is. 40 wounds to knights on turn 1 is just madness.
2 guys into heavy weapons. Okay, so 10 guys into the... No, 10 guys isn't enough. So 11. I should not get greedy. I should not try to shoot into the Lotus Cordon. This makes no sense. Okay.
Brendan, you can't hide from sound. Sam says you literally can.
Heavy weapons. Maybe I roll one shot.
These nice should have bred
so both
headphones,
heavy
dude.
weapons and 3 guys.
Big
in him.
earplugs. Yeah, we're gonna overcommit a little bit here on this
15
this night with
guys
2 wounds
in
left,
the-
and just make sure he kills it and tries to kill the Rampager too. Packed with the Dyke Rod's not going to be doing that much work if 2 knights go down in 1 turn. Tomb King certainly not expecting this much damage out of him.
It's gonna win you the game.
And now we will start with 5 guys into the. No, 2 guys. I said 3 guys. How many did I say into him? 3 guys.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay,
3,
you guys.
3 over here, 15 over here, and heavy weapons also into roll. Okay, so 3 guys are 9 attacks. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Yeah, we'll need to get Imperial Bond in here
Force.
for some exploding knights because his Invictor Warsuits explode every time.
Okay, so 6 wounds.
6 wounds.
But perfect roads, so whatever.
Yep.
Oh, that's the last shooting at him, correct?
Nope.
Yeah.
Still but 2 heavy weapons into him after it.
Oh, I thought you said there. Three weapons going.
No, only 15 guys in him.
Yep.
In him, 3 guys and 2 heavy weapons.
Okay.
That is what was
1
declared.
to CP reroll.
I was there.
Okay, so he would be dead.
Goodbye,
And,
Chaos
he
Knight.
Does he explode?
No explosion.
Explode.
He does not. So
Okay.
I have to spend 3 CP for him.
Shady Aces. Yeah, so the Noise Marines got Wolfvonmibu spent 2 CP at the start to give them +2 movement
Next turn, I can.
at the start of the game, and then with 2 advances plus including a warp time from 1,000 Sun Sorcerer, got in the middle. Veterans of the Long War, excruciating frequencies, used the Emperor's Chosen Relic to reroll all wounds,
And 15 guys.
and
into the Rampager.
got Prescience off for +1 to hit.
Rerolling
Has
twice.
killed this Despoiler and has left this Rampager on 14
Okay.
before this Endless Cacophony shot, which has hit an immense number of times, 37 times. And yeah,
We have
30 wounds? Is that right? These guys are 4 shots each, right? With the Sonic Blaster.
Does he explode? He is not.
2 knights down, ladies and gentlemen.
No, killing 2 knights in 1 shooting phase.
Ooh, boy. Do you say 83? Noise Marines are hard countered by the World Aegis Relic, the Helm of Bows. Brennan Spearin, yeah. So it's Veterans of the Long War, excruciating frequency, the combat elixir for the +2 movement. They have Prescience on them for +1 to hit. They have the Delightful Agonies for a 5+ DPR, and they received a warp time to move twice.
This unit of Iron Warrior Cultists to attack the Lord Discordant.
Not much, just that. Just 5 separate buffs on this unit to kill 800 points of models in one go.
Cultist Unit 3 is charging into the
Woo!
Lord Discordant. I think you have line of sight, to be honest.
Remnant of the Meraviglia, that makes sense. Everyone just calls it
Maybe.
the disc track
I do not have line of
that
sight.
I've played against, I think.
I do not have
Yep.
line of sight.
Okay, so we will just attack.
I appreciate you looking up the real name.
Yeah, how much we can get in. Okay, 6 inches.
Extremely powerful relic from Faith and Fury.
To go.
Sam Moyer seems like he should have set up farther back. Yeah, unfortunately,
7.
if he goes any farther back, he Tomb King doesn't get on the objectives.
With this fucking system, I'm not able to move my. Sorry.
So it looks like we are
I really don't think it's going to matter. Dude. I can
charging cultists here. And
go. I was hoping for some more keys in there
For some? Sorry.
as well. No, just you're good. Keep going.
And now this unit of Iron Warrior Cultists will attack him.
just the cultists going in. I guess
Charging, yeah.
Wolfvonmibu elected not to charge the Demon Prince in now that he didn't have his Diabolic Strength off from that mistake earlier.
Your best.
And is just going to try to grab Objective 1.
4
Could
inches.
see a bunch of cultists get killed here.
Yeah, you already won.
Yeah. Bam.
And that's that is
And
Oh boy, that is going to trap the disco. So this turn, he will not be able to escape from the ruin. Big downside of taking vehicles is that they can't walk through this ruin wall, so it's easier to wrap them.
Do I even need you? Yes, you go over here. And now.
The Maraviglia is just the THX movie sound thing turned up to 11. Yeah, so the Tomb King elected to Pact with the Dark Gods the Battle Cannon Despoiler, which leaves it with 2 wounds left.
Should be in 1 inch. And even if you want to...
Kind of an interesting dichotomy of these lists is that Wolfvonmibu doesn't have any really great targets for those battle cannons.
Is he able to attack from a wall or not?
You're fine, bud.
Okay,
I'm pretty
cool.
sure. Yeah, you good.
Okay, good. Okay, my base is going through this door. Nice. So no chance. Okay.
Maraviglia is the name of the symphony that the Emperor's children heard as they turned to chaos. It's a spicy tune you can only find on vinyl now.
We will see what we can do.
You're not a real Maraviglia fan if you don't have it on vinyl, dudes.
I won't be able to kill him. So I have
4 attacks.
do I have 4 attacks, right? Yeah, okay. So 5 of Hateful Assault, plus 3 for 2 Malefic talents. So
Oh, so it looks like the Demon Prince did go in after all. I guess the cultists were just moving out of the way.
Rolling 8 hits. No death to the Force Emperor. You are not impure. It's always strange if my opponent is not impure. Okay, 8 wounds.
Woo! Spicy attack here
Right.
from the Malefic Talons.
Four ups.
So
Damage
1,
two,
2,
right?
3, 4. Damage 2. 10 damage at the moment.
Oh, sorry, I gotta roll to see if this guy gets up.
Oh, you got to roll the Pact of the Dark Gods. We actually didn't roll it.
I'm sorry.
That should happen. It should happen at the end of the shooting phase. I gotta see if that tank
Oh,
gets up.
you have to roll for the stratagem?
Yeah, it's 3 CP, and I'm gonna have to CP it to
Oh,
reroll.
this is really dumb. Yeah, okay, so it's cost 4 CP. Oh, 4 up. Oh, you missed it. Oh, ooh. Do I get my 2 knights a turn?
Oh, man.
All right, brother,
And
we
you
can
paid
call
4
it there.
CP. And you paid 4 CP.
Yeah, it's a Tomb
this-
King,
this is
flubs, the reroll on the Pact of the Dark Gods.
All the time.
And I think we're going to see a concession here.
75. Yeah, 75 is... Oh, damn it. Okay.
Whew.
Yeah, because
Okay.
I mean,
and Lord
even
Discordant
if
is
I
down
would-
to is down to 2, so yeah.
well, he's got Film of Pain, so he was gonna survive.
Oh
that.
yeah,
He's
yeah. Of
probably
course, he
gonna
has a
kill you.
Pheno Pain. Okay, no.
He was gonna-
I
he was probably
didn't
gonna
thought
kill
about
that.
it. Okay, so we will just go kill the Demon Prince.
But
Makes sense. Okay.
but it doesn't matter because I can't do enough damage to win the game.
Yeah.
I need to roll.
Yeah, so Tomb King, I mean, maybe can make a play,
Or like
but the Obliterator is going to drop down next turn. I'm not sure he has enough left to screen out appropriately. And they double tap the other knight, and if not kill it, they cripple it potentially.
The Noise Marines, if you do not know, if you do not knew what they can do, it's the most for the same players if they encounter them for the first time, because the damage they can do with all buffs is just so ridiculous. At the range, of course.
You'll probably get bonuses on his next turns.
Yeah, should
There you
be
go.
able to.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry, man.
Well, yeah, that's that. I guess, chat. I'm sorry for a bit of a short game. Woo.
41 to 1.
You would get more. You would get more points. Is it important for you? Do you want to count, or are you saying, "Fuck this game. I want to go"?
No. What I'm saying is it doesn't matter. It's win loss.
Because you will get hold, you will get like 3 more points of hold,
Chat,
you will get 3 more
yeah.
points of engineers, I think.
Yeah,
able to reach it because you're
these guys all have assault weapons as well, the Noise Marines.
I will have to use
So
my
they can
military
advance
units and
and
to kill
twice.
the rest.
So they move 16 plus 2d6 plus their
I
24
think
inch
you
range.
should be- if it's important for you, you will end at something like, let's say, 7 or an 8 or 9.
If you're going to shoot them, you
Yeah,
absolutely
one-
walk
one
backwards
kill.
away
I think
from them,
2, I
yeah.
think at least 3 points of Reaper or 2 points of Reaper. 1, 2,
1 point of Reaper. 1, 2.
So looks like the players are just going to talk out.
And
We do encourage this because TTS games do take a little bit of time. So if people want to talk their game out, that's fine.
okay.
It's not collusion or anything, but we are going to call it a 41-14 for Wolfvon.
I can go to bed.
Sorry,
Oh, boy.
Sorry, I wasn't more of a game, brother. My bad.
No, nothing to worry about. Would love to play you again. And now you know what I can do. And yeah, okay. So thank you for
To be
the game.
honest, I'm probably
Yeah.
going to finish the pods I'm on, and then I'm probably going to be done for now until done. It's just
Again.
too much in this game now. It's like point and click. So between the psychic waiting and the creep, as they keep progressively getting worse.
Hey, well, looks like a little salt maybe. That's fair.
It's almost like
So we'll go ahead and end the stream there, everybody. I'm gonna work out with my opponent, who I think is in the chat, when we'll get the next one going. Looks like we actually didn't have to delay too long for that, and so we'll have another game up online for you guys shortly. So stay tuned on the channel, and we'll have that going pretty quickly. Same where it was definitely a ton of wounds, but when you get full rerolls to wound, they were hitting on 3s, to be fair, because they have +1 to hit. So they're hitting on 3s normally, -1 for assaulting, +1 for prescience. And then they were rerolling 1s for Lucius, and then they had full rerolls to wound. So they were wounding on 4s, rerolling everything. So it's a 75. It should be a 75% wound conversion, and it's whatever it is, a 70-something% hit conversion. I think he did roll hot there. I think Wolfvon absolutely rolled a lot, and Tomb King saves weren't that great. But it's just so much 2 damage shooting with full rerolls to wound. It's just, it's a 1-turn combo. You get it 1 time. But if it goes off, obviously it's a crippling amount of damage potentially. So I'm going to go ahead and shut off the stream real quick, everyone. So thanks everybody for joining. We'll be back. And yeah, thanks.